Good morning, and welcome to Mr. Black Rhino Ranger's latest live stream. Today is International Men's Day, a day where we spread awareness of how men have to deal with physical and mental issues. Well, International Women is about women empowerment and helping spread gender equality and stuff. International Men's Day is about helping some men face physical and mental issues. But we're not talking about that. Instead, we will be talking about the other half of Roger Hargreaves' most famous works. Remember back in Black Rhino Ranger's previous live stream, in his International Women's Day live stream, he went over The Little Misses, works by Roger Hargreaves. Well, in this one, we'll talk about his other half of Roger Hargreaves' work, the Mr. Men. And these include some of his most iconic characters, starting with Mr. Tickle, and then Mr. Greedy, Mr. Happy, Mr. Nosy, Mr. Sneeze, Mr. Bump, and many, many more. Now, for this occasion, you are going to help Black Rhino Ranger request some Mr. Men characters. With over here is a list of all the Mr. Men characters that have had an episode of the 1970s cartoon. In fact, all of these there are at least 28 episodes, but there are plenty of others that haven't. But you can request that later in the random section. So for now, all you have to do is just ask me any Mr. Men requests. Before that though, there are a few rules. These are the ones I can do. Mr. Men doing things, Mr. Men meeting other characters, and Mr. Men dressing up. What I cannot do are complex drawings or other characters dressing up as the Mr. Men. And although the super chat system is operational, I request that you refrain from the more complex commissions, and also and because for one, there's a time difference in between. How do I say this? The daylight savings hour thingy is over in the US, so it's kind of changed on my part in Malaysia. So instead of 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. thing, it's 12 p.m. in New York and 1 a.m. in Malaysia. That's where I am. And I worry that it's going to take quite a long time. I mean, it's going to be a 3-hour live stream, and I might be tired. I might tire out if it goes a bit too long. That's why I want these requests to be as simple as possible. Again, the super chat system is available. Just don't be too complex, or don't overdo the character parts. Okay, so let's start off with Mr. Tickle. Who wants to go with Mr. Tickle? If you have nothing to request, just ask me any question. That's all I ask. All right. Let's see. Okay. Okay, not Mr. Tickle this time. It's Mr. Strong. And ever thought about traveling to England on your own? Oh, I got another one. Okay. For the traveling England on my own, not really. I like to go. I like to be with somebody else, with my parents or my sibling, or maybe with my cousins. But I never really liked the idea of traveling by myself. Well, because I get worried. I may feel a bit lost. Yes, even in my 30s, there are some things there are some things that I'm still a bit anxious about. How come he wasn't included in the Donkey Kong Country cartoon? Or did he come out a little bit later than the Donkey Kong Country cartoon? Actually, it was in 64. That means it's a bit earlier, right? I don't know. I got another one. I'll come back to that in just a minute. Let me just draw another okay, the foot is a little too small. Now, okay, I'm gonna do okay, see, okay, here's a funny thing about Mr. Strong. There are two different versions of him. In fact, I forgot to include this earlier. That there are at least two different versions of Mr. Strong. In the books, Mr. Strong is a box head. He's like very trying to remember. In fact, I have a book. I have the book with me where he, where in the book he's so strong that he kind of broke his own door and stuff. But then his strength ended up being quite useful when he helped save the farmer's house from being burnt down. And what did he do? He picked up an empty barn and he filled it with water, and then he slushed the water onto the big fire. Yeah. That was one of my favorites growing up. But in the but if you're more familiar with the Mr. Men show version, I've got another one in case you want. Let me just find the. Yeah, in the like I said, in the books he's a square, but in the in the Mr. Men show he's about as strong. He's a triangle. He's like a plectrum triangle, and he's got muscles. And funny enough, there's a little Miss Strong in there, but it was only a cameo. But there was a cameo of a little Miss Strong. In one version, I remember Mr. Strong for some reason has a Scottish accent. It was in the Christmas Rescue pilot, which I remember seeing as a kid. He's like, we can't stop right now. We must rescue Mr. Snow and Father Christmas. In the American US, in the Mr. Men show, in the American version, he's like, good thing I came along. Or in the UK version, it's good thing I came along. So I await your response for which version of Mr. Strong you want me to keep. You want the one based on the Mr. Men show or the one based on the books? Okay, I forgot to. I forgot to include. Let me just include this little extra rule. Must label if possible. If possible, book version of insert Mr. Men or 2008 TV show version of that should help in case you want me to do it based on the books or based on the TV series, the 2008 one, because the book version is showcased in on the other television versions, like the 1970s and 1980s cartoons, the 1990s cartoons. And I heard there's going to be another Mr. Man cartoon coming in later this decade. Anyways, that's Mr. Strong done. Where did I... Oh, I didn't... Oh, wait, no, mine found it. Okay, so that's... Okay, next... sorry, I'm just trying to find where the thing is. Alright, it's... Without the coat... It's, Okay, it's, Mr. Birthday and Ruffy. Mr. Birthday is one of the, later Mr. Man characters. He's also one of the special ones. Oh, and I forgot that this year's the 30th anniversary of the Page Master. Also, there's something you gotta know with Roger Hargreaves and Adam Hargreaves' style of drawing his characters, their characters. I mean, the Roger Hargreaves is usually like this, the just the dotted eyes and the smile. The Adam Hargreaves one is I think it's he adds in a little cheeky bone thingy, a little extra on the cheeks, and extra something around the character's eyes. Okay, let me just add in. I'm just gonna add in 30 candles. Okay, not 30 candles because that'll cause a bit too much. It'll take a bit too long to say. Let me just check. What does Richard Tyler without a coat look like? I sometimes forget. Okay, I remember now. Okay, 30 years of the page master. Okay. There it is. Okay, I'm just gonna replace this bit here with Alright. Who's next? Mr. Astro from Dandy's. He's I'm just trying to see what he fully looks like, because it's always good to have you. Let me just add in a little eye thingy. Now, the funny thing about Mr. Daydream is that nobody quite knows if he's real or not. Something in the actual Mr. Men book, Mr. Daydream, it features a kid who was trying to concentrate in class, but apparently he feels a bit he felt a bit suddenly he came across Mr. Daydream, and then they go on some crazy adventures and stuff, and then Mr. Daydream gets stuck in a hat. He said, "Help! Help! Hello! Hello!" Then the teacher then wakes him up, realizing that he's back in his class. It's like, well, what happened? Oh, I think you were just daydreaming. So it makes a bit of an implication that Mr. Daydream is perhaps not real. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But then he does appear in some other Mr. Men projects like Little Miss Splendid as fully real and all. Oh. He's actually, the way he's designed is based on a cloud, because since his name's Daydream, and sometimes dreams are projected like often showcase like a cloud. He's probably thinking how your dream's been like. So that's Mr. Daydream. Let me just place some. Okay, who's next? Mr. Jelly. Now, here's a funny thing about Mr. Jelly. If you're living in a different country, you might recognize him as a different name, Mr. Nervous. Even in the Mr. Men show, the Mr. Nervous character name was kept. Because the Mr. Nervous in the Mr. Men show was, as Mr. Root put it, is soft as a grape. But in the way the term jelly in the UK means that he's feeling all squishy and wobbly and frightened, like he's quivering. That's what they mean of jelly. And funny enough, jelly is not jam. Jam in the US it's jelly or gelatin, and in the UK it's jam and jelly. And he's scared of oh, the guy who's the Freddy Krueger of Rick and Morty. I remember that episode. And it's also kind of funny that his name is a little similar to another Rick and Morty character, Jerry. In fact, when I saw the name, I thought, wait, did Jerry suddenly become evil or something? But as I remember, as I'm seeing the picture, I'm like, oh, I remember him. He was from that thing where Rick and Morty go inside a dream within a dream within a dream or something. Yeah, I decided to give him 5 instead of the usual 4 this time. Usually I ignored this part, but I thought it was necessary this time. Now, when Freddy Krueger usually only has 4, which is why I often like to give him when I draw him with 4 fingers and the thumb, I give the thumb the sharp edge too. Oh. Because again, if it's 3, it's not really Freddy Krueger, it's Wolverine, as I learned in Transformers. When they looked at the scratch marks, they're like, man, it's like Freddy Krueger been here. No, Freddy Krueger had 4 claws, that's only 3, that's Wolverine! There he goes, poor Mr. Jelly. He's shrieking in terror. In fact, let me just add in a little extra something. There, now he's extra scared. Oh dear, poor Mr. Jelly. At least it's much scarier than the giant he once fought, or. And heck, there was a moment where he nearly got scared of a balloon. Thankfully, that never popped. Oh, anyways, just tracing back. Okay, you want me to do? You want me? Okay, what am I doing? I should not be using that type of voice. Sorry, I keep remembering that character, Iziki. Oh, yeah, apparently, in Total Drama, it is a Canadian show, but I bet Ezekiel, the character of Total Drama, was purposely meant to be the most stereotypical Canadian as possible. Down with the thick accent and often saying eh. Sorry if I offend anybody who is Canadian, because I do know some people from Canada who don't speak like this, eh. I apologize, but that's what Ezekiel sounds like to me. Thankfully, almost everybody else in Total Drama speaks rather normally to a point where you could mistaken them for American. Anyways, at least, some people are not. Well, to be fair, not a lot of people are. There are some people who are not too fond of the Mr. Men show, saying that the American accent's kind of rude. I mean, do people really like it when Mr. Bump speaks like a Southerner? Like, do you really think this is a good idea? Oh, sure, Mr. Bump. It'll be over before you know it. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Okay, to make sure I'm still with Mr. Bump on this, I'm giving him... But in the UK one, he's like, Mr. Bump. That's how he sounded like. But then I remember a 90s version where he's like, I'm fine, Miss Lucky, I'm fine. I think I remember. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking something else. No. I think I'm thinking of something else. Sorry, I'm just thinking of something else. I need to do a bit of research before I say anything about it. In case I made a mistake, but never mind. Anyways, here's Mr. Bump as Ezekiel, the homeschool boy. I decided to go with the first version instead of having him look like Gollum. Anyways, Mr. Bump is done. Okay, I've got another one. Yeah, Mr. Grumpy. Boy, it's a two-way one, so now since Mr. Grumpy in the Mr. Men show is much like his original counterpart, except he has a unibrow. I think I'm just gonna do the unibrow one. I think I'm just gonna do the TV show version because that's my favorite. The way he says, "Oh, crooked cucumbers." Now, one important note about the Mr. Men show is that almost everybody in the show is a complete vegetarian, with a few bits of eggs, bacon, milk, and whatever included, because this was requested by the director, who was indeed a vegetarian. Hence why a lot of Mr. Men, when they eat something that's similar to meat, it's usually referred to as a bean burger, or even bean balls. Yes, bean balls. Now, granted, I did see a sighting. I did see some sightings of a. I did remember seeing a chicken bone at one point, and I did see Mr. Grumpy having some eggs and bacon. You could argue that was vegan bacon, but again, it looked super red, so it must be real bacon. And also in the U.S. version of the restaurants, where Mr. Grumpy goes, "I'll have the rice and beans. Don't you want to hear the special? No, thank you, just the rice and beans." But in the UK, he goes, "I will have the bangers and mash. Don't you want to hear the special? No, thank you, just the bangers and mash. Coming right up." Look, what am I supposed to do with that? Well, you wait it, but peel it first. Banana skin is very hard to chew. Look, I ordered rice and beans. Okay, where was my head? Says Mr. Mr. Scatterman takes away the banana and is like, "I have bad news, Mr. Grumpy. We're out of rice and beans." Or, "I have bad news, Mr. Grumpy. We're out of bangers and mash." "Then I'll have the butter noodles." "We're out of butter and noodles." "And I'll have the raisins toast." "Guess what? You're out of raisins." "Oh no. We got lots of raisins. They're just not getting along with the toast, so we got to keep them separate." "Well, what do you have?" Duck. Orange? No, I like the purple, then the orange." "Oh, crooked cucumbers, I can't eat that." "Oh, goodness, no. He is much too cute, but he makes a wonderful dinner companion. Here's some bird seeds as an appetizer. And here's your bill. You can pay on the way out." "You gonna share that bird seed?" There's even one episode where Mr. Grumpy was about to have liverwurst, but then it got taken away by birds, and it ended up in the hands of Mr. Small and Mr. Nosy. Ah, liverwurst. No. This is too low for Grump. This is far too low for Mr. Grump, for Grumpy, the dwarf Grumpy. In case you're wondering, I don't know what to think about the Snow White live-action remake. In fact, the only thing I can comment is, why not wait for another 2 more years on the movie's 90th anniversary? Wouldn't that be a more appropriate time to advertise the remake? I know live-action remakes are starting to become everybody's least favorite cup of tea from Disney, but and it's starting to slowly but surely not make the money Disney hopes, but oops, I forgot his hat. And better include one more. Squid. The funny thing about Mr. Men books is that a lot of the more antagonistic Mr. Men they have each of them have a bit of a similar formula, where they act all antagonists to each other and to other characters, but then they start to learn not to become what their personalities are like. Like I'm trying to think. Mr. Greedy's lesson is to stop being super greedy. And Mr. Nosy's lesson is to not be so, nosy. And Mr. I'm trying to think. Mr. Snooty, don't worry, we'll get to him and his name in a moment. Being not so snooty and uptight, let's say. Oh, I've moved some things. Wait. Uh-oh. Let me just find another. There you go, and move it right there. So it's Mr. Grumpy. Where is Grumpy? Where's Grumpy? Here it is. Okay. What was next on the Okay, I think that's all the super chats for now. Let's go back to which one do you guys want me to do? Do you want me to do Mr. Tickle, Mr. Greedy, Mr. Happy, Mr. Nosy, Mr. Sneeze, etc.? Again, in case they appeared in the Mr. Men show, ask me which version you want. Do you want the book version or the TV show version? Now, Mr. Tickle, I think is I can do because he's because the Mr. Tickle version is much like the original book, except in the TV show he can stretch his arms. His arms are normal, but they can be stretched and needed. I think somebody needs a tickle. Missy, you can become 100%. Sorry, I'm just thinking about one of the Mr. Men show segments where, in inventions, Mr. Grumpy has an invention to prevent tickling. Does this happen to you? Not a pretty sight. Nate, you want Mr. Grumpy's tickle protector. It'll cause a small discharge when being tickled. Watch as this unsuspecting guy gets tickled by Mr. Tickle. Now watch as he wears with Mr. Grumpy's tickle protector. And you order one right now, and you'll become 100% tickle free. And I got this book to why happy people annoy me. Because, face it, not everybody likes to be tickled. Apparently, Mr. Tickle's also been in a bit of controversy in recent years. In fact, some people say that Mr. Tickle's comparable to Harvey Weinstein. Yes, apparently he's been compared to Harvey Weinstein. Hello. And people are debating if Mr. Tickle should be made to this very day without realizing the context of Mr. Tickle in the first place. He's just doing this for fun. He meant there was no mischief to his malice. Yeah, not surprised about Mr. Tickle being a controversy. Yeah, apparently. Oops, I did the nose wrong. Whoops. I did the nose wrong. It's supposed to be more like, There you go, fellas. Mr. Tickle and Mr. and Jake having a tickle off. That's Mr. Tickle. Next up is Mr. Greedy, who is not greedy because of money, he's greedy because of food. Now you're probably thinking, shouldn't he be called Mr. Glutton or Mr. Gluttonous or Mr. Or Mr. Food or something like that? I don't know. In fact, Greedy, I often used to think Mr. Greedy was ever since the Mr. Man short, I often associate greed with food until I learned about the 7 deadly sins. Gee, I wonder why he's compared to that punk. Anyways, oh, that's an interesting one. Let's see. Now, the funny thing about Mr. Greedy is that he doesn't appear in the Mr. Men show, but there was a background character who kind of looked like Mr. Greedy, and his body structure is kind of reminiscent to Mr. His body structure would later be used for Mr. Nosy. I'll get to him after I finish Mr. Happy. Now the story of Mr. Greedy is that he randomly came across a giant's house. And I was thinking, wait, is this a parody of when Jack and the Beanstalk, but they didn't mention anything about the Beanstalk. Instead, it takes place in a giant's cave, and when Mr. Greedy climb on those big steps and into this house, and apparently the door wasn't locked, so he was able to sneak in and eat as much food as possible. Then the giant comes in. Is like, "Who dares disturb me and my dinner?" And then he's like, "Oh, I'm just here for some food. That's all." And then the giant is like, "Ah, I see you love to eat. Well, eat as much as you like." So then Mr. Greedy starts eating everything until he can no longer eat. He felt full. And he's starting to feel sick. So he's like, "Now you know the importance of not being super greedy." So then Mr. Greedy left home feeling rather sick and stuff. And then after a while, he decided to go on a diet, and now he looks like super slim. But in every other Mr. Men book, he's gone back to being his plump self. I don't know how well that will work by today's standards, because with the fat acceptance and stuff, I mean, if you mention anything bad about being fat, you're like accused of fat phobia. You're triggering people and stuff. I don't know what to say about it, as I myself am a little bit overweight myself and have battled eating habits. Anyways, I can legitimately relate to Mr. Greedy. Sometimes I bite more than I can chew. Anyways, oh, that's an easy one. Now, even though each Mr. Men has its own book, there are a few Mr. Men characters that are named within the books, but they never had their own book. Sometimes for good reason. They're like because then they don't really have much of a story to tell. Because some of them actually look like other Mr. Men. For example, Mr. Happy has another character named Mr. Miserable, who looks almost exactly like Mr. Happy, except that happy smile was turned upside down. There we go, fellas. Mr. Happy is Trigger Happy. Mr. Trigger Happy. There's a nice ring to it. Now here's another character. Here's another one on this list who's got two different designs. Mr. Nosy. Now here's the thing with Mr. Nosy. In the book, Mr. Nosy is dark green and has a long nose, and he's often shown on his side. If you're the Mr. Men show version, he looks like Mr. Greedy, except he's green, has a bow tie, has a tie, and he has a orange nose. Now, I personally don't mind most of the redesigns of the Mr. Men. I thought they fitted their characters quite nicely. The only one I think I have an issue with is Mr. Nosy, because his nose is kind of too small. I mean, the purpose of Mr. Nosy having a big nose is that it's to help snoop and poke at other people's business. And it's supposed to be portrayed as a bad thing if you read the book, Here, Mr. Nosy is just so polite. He's like, oh no, just looking. And people are like, people are just okay with it. Like, it's our business for him to snoop on. But he's like so super friendly and stuff. But really, would you like it if people started looking at your computer unsuspectedly? Oh, okay, have a great time, stay safe. Okay, see you later. Okay, bye-bye. Anyways, which version of Mr. Nosy do you want me to do? Do you want the book version or the TV version? Okay, that's a pretty good reason to. Which Pinocchio? Do you want the Disney version? The Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio? Oh, there's lots of different Pinocchios out there. Snooping as usual, I see. Again, which version? Do you want the Disney version or the Guillermo del Toro's version? Because either one of them is my favorite. Oops, sorry. Hi, BRR. Hello? Yeah, just do the Disney version. It's the easiest one people recognize. Yes, Mister. in the Christmas version, okay. I'll come to him in a moment. Let me just finish Mr. Nosy off, and then we'll get to him later. In the Mr. Man Christmas rescue, Mr. Nosy is portrayed as a snooping reporter. For the news. He's like, and over here is the Queen, Her Majesty, who is her rottenness herself. The Queen is like, nothing in misery land of happiness is allowed, except the jester, and she doesn't get much laughs. She's right. Everybody around here is so miserable. All right. Let's go to a character who's had a bit of controversy as of late. If you were born before 2020, if you are, you should probably not use this website on YouTube. But if you were, you might recognize his current name. But if you were around before the 2020s, he's like 90s, like I have, or the 2000s, you might recognize him as by a different name. His name is currently Mr. Snooty, but his other name is before his name used to be called Mr. Uppity. Now, in his book, Mr. Uppity was the rudest person in the world, if not the rudest. Miserable old Uppity. Now, the reason why they decided to rename him to Mr. Snooty is because apparently the word Uppity was not a very good word to use. It originally meant add a bit of a racist background of knowing your place. Is to describe some people. And at this day and age, the meaning of it is meant to be snobbish and rude, but the original meaning is goes a bit deeper. I remember somebody tried to beg somebody to rename Mr. Uppity to something else or unpublish the books. And it didn't really bother me that much, but ever since the Black Lives Matter movement, they decided to rename it to Mr. Snooty. And I was thinking, and then it's not the only thing that's been renamed because of the Black Lives Matter movement. There's Dixie Chicks. They used to be called Dixie Chicks, but ever since the Black Lives Matter movement, they've just renamed themselves as the Chicks. And it was sorry. Yeah, let me just what else was affected by the Black Lives Matter to cause different renames and stuff? Penny Lane was vandalized at one point. They kept temporarily renaming it to Racist Lane. I was thinking to myself, will the Beatles song be called Racist Lane is in my ears and in my eyes? And not helping with Mr. Snooty or Mr. Uppity back then is because he's one of the few Mr. Men to have his skin color be almost identical to human. The other being Mr. Lazy. And Mr. Uppity was like dark brown, and I'm like, oh, now I see why. Oof. It's a bit of a shame that I understand the importance that with the Black Lives Matter and why it's important to have more black representation in a more positive way, and to have some people of different ethnicities play characters that match their ethnicities, to prevent stereotyping and showcase a bit more racial equality. But this also means some iconic voices have to be replaced with something else who may or may not have much experience. Now, thankfully for Family Guy, they managed to get somebody who does a good impression of. They managed to get somebody who's done a good impression of Cleveland Brown, originally voiced by a white man named Mike Henry. He's now played by a black actor. And he actually does a good voice impression of Cleveland Brown. Da 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 da. This is the Cleveland Show. This also means that except for the earlier 2020 games like All-Star Brawl and Nick Kart Racers 3, Janet Varney decided to step down from being the voice of Cora and instead be replaced by someone who has a bit of a darker skin than her. So, and let's not forget Mr. Snooty. Now, in the original book, Mr. Snooty originally had the it's about him visiting a goblin. A goblin then shrinks him down to size so he can visit the Goblin King, and he has to learn not to be so snooty and rude. And then, slowly but surely, he learns how to be less snooty and less rude. Until he bought himself some newspaper, and then he turned around and he said, "Thank you." The newspaper man smiled. "Thank you" was a word that Mr. Snooty never used before. Maybe one day I can... I don't have the new version with me. In fact, I still have the old version of Mr. Uppity with me. But if I can, I'll probably get my hands on the new version of Mr. Snooty and then probably do a redub over the old cartoon and replace Uppity with Snooty. But the thing is, though, Uppity it sounds a bit more like a bit of a tongue twistery, like it rolls off your tongue in a way, like Uppity, Uppity, Uppity. Especially if you have a bit of a British accent, which I can occasionally do myself. There we go, Mr. Snooty, formerly known as Mr. Uppity, versus Carter, Peter I've forgotten his last name. Just Carter. He's done. Now to see who else. Oh, I got another one. Mr. Fussy, also known as Mr. Persnickety. Wait, where did that one come from? Did I, Wait, I'm just wondering, where did I get that one from? I'll come back to that in a moment. Mr. Fussy is another character who who's got different names, but not in the book. Mr. If you're familiar with the Mr. Men show, you might be familiar with the fact that he's got two different names, or three actually. The first in the first season of the Mr. Men show, he was called Mr. Persnickety, or in the UK, Mr. Pernickety. Funny enough, in season 2, Mr. Persnickety later became Mr. Fussy, and he's had his coloring also altered to be more like his original book self. In the original Mr. Men season 1, he had lighter skin, but in the season 2, he had darker skin, the green skin. There was one moment when in season 2 when Mr. Messy and Mr. Fussy have a fight on the homes, on decorating one's homes with magic. There was a moment when Mr. Fussy transformed back into his Mr. Persnickety colors as a nice little Easter egg. Maybe I should take a revisit Henry and his bucket full of dinosaurs, because I actually did remember seeing a little bit of that when I was a kid. Not a whole lot, but some. And maybe I'll take a peek at Dinosaur Train too, since the main characters are played by Sweetie Belle and Cheetor. And there's even a Cryolophosaurus in Henry and His Bucket Full of in Dinosaur Train, who sounds like Elvis Presley, as a reference to the fact that he's got a crust on his head that makes him look like Elvis. I don't know the lyrics to Piggyback, so I'm just gonna write down and him just having say at least it wasn't the shark about an underwater creature that's known to kill millions and millions of people who swim in it. Except this one is all kid-friendly and it's yellow. I'm not going to mention the name for the sake of making sure my audience is not ticked off, but I mean, I tried to do something a bit positive to it, got a bit of backlash. I think if I can only gain people's happiness if I kill the shark. Hopefully not for Finn's soup. Anyways, what was I? Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see. What are the lyrics? I'll provide the lyrics after the stream. Oh no. Okay, let me just have a quick water because a little bit thirsty from talking so much. Let's see, how many Mr. Men have we done so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, not bad, not bad. So what's with Mr. Sneeze? What about Mr. Sneeze? Oh, that's cute. What? Oops, sorry. Now, now in the story of Mr. Sneeze, he lives in a place called Codeland, where everybody is where everything is code. You'll see code-nosed elephant and a code-nosed dog, and I was like thinking to myself, did Mr. Sleeves live in Antarctica? Now here's another funny thing about Mr. Sneeze. He's perhaps the only Mr. Men character. Actually, he only has about. I'll do this again. He's the only Mr. Men character who lacks the presence of upper extremities. In other words, you don't see him with arms, which means he is perhaps the one of, if not the only, Mr. Men characters with a visible physical disability. Some of the others may have a mental disability, but since Mr. Sneeze has no arms, you could argue he is one of the earliest to not have that. I've grown really attached to Disventured Camp as of late. Yeah, it's a bit of like a more serious and more mature version of Total Drama. While Total Drama is meant more for fun, silly willy comedy, despite the whole total drama selling point. This Adventure Time, I think, expands on the drama, making it more for grown-ups than for adults, for kids. In fact, it's not really for kids. There's a lot of swearing. Heck, Fiore, who's like a 6 to 8 year old girl, she's a bit of a potty mouth. Oh, sorry, I'm not very her nose is a oof. Oh dear. The nose is not right. The nose is not right. I'll come back to you in just a quick moment. I just want to... Fiore's favorite word is the A word. Sauce! Now, at first I didn't think I would like Gabby because I thought maybe her voice might get a little too annoying. She might sound a little too... her voice might sound a little too much for me. But over time, she grew on me. And I thought she is genuinely a very nice and very sweet character. In fact, her relationship with Ellie kind of reminds me a little of Lou's and Lumity. Although yes, Gabby is a lesbian, and Gabby is a lesbian, and Ellie is bi. How many bi girls do we have in animation? I mean, do we not have? Can we have more bi guys, please? Yes, I mean, we got King Sombra, we got Hunter, we got 2018 Bo, we got Professor Venormous, we got there was another one. We got Hunter. Did I say Hunter? Professor Venormous, King Sombra. Oh wait, Moxie. That's it. We also got Moxie as well. And she meanwhile we've got for the bi girl side we got Star Butterfly, Luz Noceda, Ida Clawthorn, 2023 Velma. Who else is by? Charlie Morningstar. Glimmer from 2018 She-Ra. Marceline from Adventure Time. Princess Bubblegum and Marceline too. People are telling me maybe Princess Bubblegum isn't bi. Maybe she is les. But I asked her. I said to them, well, she used to date a guy at one point, but maybe she was just finding herself. Stevani from Steven Universe. Yes. Wait, wasn't Stevani agender or non-binary? I kept forgetting. I remember they were called they them at one point. Come back to you in just a moment. Wait, let me just okay. like I said, there's a lot of bi gals in animation history, and I like to try and headcanon some guys as bi, because I think that we could use a few of them. Like I headcanon Gus from the Owl House and also Matt from the Owl House as both of them as bi. Since at one point they did have a crush on a few gals like Bria and Celine the Moon Girl, but I thought maybe they can also be for each other in a similar fashion to Lumity. I mean, we got young girls falling in love. Why not a young boy falling in love with another young boy? We also have there's also Double D, who I also headcanon as bi, because there are moments in the show where he's may have a thing for Eddie. Like he hugs Eddie in the face. It's like Eddie's like, Double D, our faces are touching, and Double D even said, "What? No flowers?" Now you could argue, what about your Ed here, where they both kiss and they're like, yeah, yeah. One, people don't want to remember that episode, and two, it was out of nowhere and unexpected, so maybe he didn't like that it was being forced upon him. But in other times, he does make weird noises around Eddie, like in Truth or Ed. A Squidward I can imagine being bi, because there's the squid, Love That Squid episode where he falls in love with a female squid named Squivia, and there's also Squilliam Returns where he's like, "Don't be intimidated, Squidward. Try to imagine him in his underwear." Oh no, he's hot! And he may or may not have feelings with SpongeBob, because he does dance a bit, and it seems like he has a romantic way with SpongeBob. Now I know what the feeling. Isn't SpongeBob asexual? Yes, but Hillenburg didn't say he was aromantic. Nor did he say Patrick was aromantic. He said Patrick was also asexual, but he didn't say he was aromantic. Maybe SpongeBob is asexual homoromantic, and Patrick is asexual heteroromantic. Anyways, that's Mr. Sneeze and Gabby from Disventure Camp sneezing. Oh dear. Oops. Yeah, gonna have a bit of time recovering. Get them a nice hot shower and have them a nice hot soup. Anyways, we got Mr. Topsy Turvy. In fact, I actually do have Mr. Topsy Turvy right with me. While I'm drawing, I can present to you what the story of Mr. Topsy Turvy is all about. Mr. Topsy Turvy was a funny sort of fellow. Everything about him is either upside down or inside out, or back to front, topsy-turvy in fact. It was all very extraordinary. To give you some idea of how topsy-turvy Mr. Topsy-Turvy was, you ought to see his house. The front door is upside down to start with, and the curtains hang upside down at the windows. Oops. And just look at that chimney pot. All extraordinary. Inside is the same. Just look at the clock standing on Mr. Topsy-Turvy's mantelpiece. Isn't that the topsiest-turviest clock you've ever seen? As in, the clock is going counterclockwise instead of clockwise. And look at the way Mr. Topsy-Turvy reads a book. Not only is he reading it upside down, but he starts to read it from the back page. Kind of like anime books. Manga. Yeah, apparently manga books are... He ought to be reading manga because they're kind of topsy-turvy. Let me just modify him a bit. And just look where Mr. Topsy-Turvy puts the stamp when he sends a letter to somebody, as in he puts it on the bottom instead of the top. Have you ever seen anything like that? Now this story is about the time Mr. Topsy-Turvy came into town where you and I live. Nobody's quite sure how Mr. Topsy-Turvy got there or where he came from. But he did arrive because somebody saw him get off the train. The trouble was he did it in a topsy-turvy way and got out the wrong side and fell on the railway, which really isn't all that surprising, isn't it? I forget, how does Coraline... Oh yeah, I forgot it's a little squarish. Yeah, that's more like it. When he picks... When he picked himself up and managed to find his way out of the station, Mr. Topsy-Turvy went into the hotel to find a room to spend the night. The hotel manager tried not to smile when he saw Mr. Topsy-Turvy walk in the hotel carrying his suitcase upside down and with his topsy-turvy hat on his head. Good afternoon, sir," he said. "Can I help you?" And now, something you didn't know about Mr. Topsy-Turvy is the way he speaks. You see, he sometimes gets things the wrong way round. Let me just draw this bit and then I'll tell you what he says. "Afternoon, good," said Mr. Topsy-Turvy to the hotel manager. "I'd room alike." The manager scratches his head. "You mean you'd like a room?" "Please, yes," says Mr. Topsy-Turvy. We kind of reached the end here, but never mind. Eventually, the hotel manager managed to work out what Mr. Topsy was talking about, and he was taken up in a lift to a bedroom. Then Mr. Topsy-Turvy unpacked his suitcase, put on his pajamas, and went to bed. He was rather tired after traveling for whatever he came from. The following day, Mr. Topsy-Turvy went around town, but what a fuss he was going around the town caused. He took a taxi from the hotel. Sorry, I'm just trying to find where the... Here it is. He took a taxi from the hotel, but so confused the taxi driver trying to tell him where he wanted to go, the poor man drove straight into a traffic light. "Oh dear," says Mr. Topsy-Turvy. "I am sorry, very." Then he went into a big department store in the middle of town. He walked up to one of the counters. "I'd like a sock of pairs." "You mean a pair of socks?" she smiled. Here, she said to the lady behind the counter. You mean a pair of socks? She smiled and showed him a pair of bright socks. Mr. Topsy Turvy put them on his hands. Then he tried to leave, but being Mr. Topsy Turvy, he tried to walk up the escalator, and all the people who were going up and up escalator all fell over themselves. It was a terrible topsy-turvy jumble. The day Mr. Topsy-Turvy did all sorts of topsy-turvy things. He walked backwards across the street and caused an enormous traffic jam. He went to the library and put all the books upside down on the shelves and made everybody extremely cross. Then he went into an art gallery and insisted on hanging all the pictures upside down so he can look at them properly. And then, after Mr. Topsy-Turvy had been to town for just one day, he disappeared. Nobody knew how he went or what he went, but he certainly went because he wasn't there anymore. The whole town breathed a sigh of relief. But when the townspeople, what a town discovered, even though Mr. Topsy-Turvy had left, it was that everything was still topsy-turvy. Read all it's about, shouted the newspaper seller, instead of shouting, read all about it. News is the here, said the television newsreader, instead of saying, here is the news. Morning, good, people started saying to each other when they met, and do you how, instead of how do you do. Everybody was talking topsy-turvy. And it ends by saying, can you think of something to say that is topsy-turvy? Go on, try it. The end. That was my favorite because ever since then I've been trying to imitate Mr. Topsy-Turvy and get everything backwards. Okay, I'm just gonna have him now the Mr. Chatterbox is well, he's of course Chatterbox. Now he does non-stop talking, and in the story he keeps talking so much that he makes everybody late for delivering. He made the delivery man, the postman, late with delivering his mail. So they're like, what should we do? I have an idea. Let's give him a very special hat. It was a very magical hat. And the more Mr. Chatterbox talked, the more the bigger the hat grew, and it muffled Mr. Chatterbox. So then he kept talking and talking until his hat kept getting bigger and bigger. Then he's like, you know what? I'm going to stop chatting. I got some hearts. Okay, let me just have him oh, wait, no. I feel like a bad. Okay, this is kind of weird for me to do, but I have seen him. If you've seen the Mr. Chatterbox cartoon parts of the 70s, Mr. Man, he does show teeth. Heath. He's like, it was. I think it was part of the joke about how much he was such a chatterbox. Now, funny enough, you're probably wondering who is Little Miss Chatterbox? Little Miss Chatterbox, believe it or not, is actually the sister of Mr. Chatterbox. In fact, Mr. Chatterbox and Little Miss Chatterbox are brother and sister. And Mr. Greedy, he is the cousin of Little Miss Greedy. Does that make Little Miss Stubborn and Mr. Stubborn brother and sister? I don't know. Mr. Stubborn never appeared in the books. He's gone to a pay phone, like in the old days. He's apparently annoying follow. Anyways, anything else? Okay, can you draw Mega Man from Mega Man? No, that has nothing to do with Mr. Man. Let's see, where did I leave off? Okay, Topsy Turvy, I've done that. Mr. Silly, Mr. Forgetful, Mr. Worry, Mr. Chatterbox. Who's next? There's Mr. Snow, who's basically a snowman. There's Mr. Messy, who's all messy. Mr. Silly, Mr. Small, Mr. Forgetful. Let's see, Mr. Goes a bit. I'll try. Oh, that's a better one. Oh, okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. Nosy in the 2008 Mr. Man actually looks a lot like the book version. Except he comes with a megaphone. Now, one notable actor you might recognize in the Mr. Man is that one thing you might recognize from the Mr. Man show is that Mr. Noisy's voice actor is Richard Epker, the voice of Raiden in some Mortal Kombat incarnations, including DC Universe, MK 2011, MKX, and MK11. He did not reprise his role in MK1 or even Onslaught. Instead, it's taken by somebody else. There's like two different Raidens. One is a younger Raiden, and another by Travis Willingham. Did he voice in Boomy? I don't know. I also know he did the Joker in MK vs. DC and MK11 and the Injustice games. And he also did this giant monster from Tekken 6. I forgot his name. Wait, I remember. Azazel. This he also was he's also Skywarp in Transformers War for Cybertron, the video game. You draw Blitzel, Moxie, Millie, and Luna from Hell of a Boss. Sorry, but they're not Mr. Men related. Wait until I do a Has-Been Hotel live stream or request challenge. In fact, you can, however, ask me to draw just one of the characters from Hell of a Boss or Has-Been Hotel interacting with the Mr. Men characters, or have the Mr. Men characters dress up as the Has-Been Hotel or Hell of a Boss characters. Now, Mr. Noisy lived in a place called Wobbletown, where he's so, sorry, I'm just doing a little bit of cuddling. Sometimes I like to do that with the Mr. Men because they're so... Okay, I better not, because, I don't know why. Anyways, what was I? Now, Wobbletown is, the reason why it's called Wobble is because Mr. Noisy lives on top of the hill of Wobbletown, and he just and every time he shouts or he closes his door on his house, the whole place it wobbled the house, and so did half of the city, half of the town is all wobbly. So then they decided to, can you please, now I don't want to be too loud, but he's like, can I have a piece of meat? Can I have a piece of meat? And then everybody's like super annoyed with that, so they decide to ignore him. They like to pretend he doesn't exist. And then, the next day he was like, can I have a piece of meat? And then the butcher just gave him a piece of meat with that, thanks to his calming voice. And then when he was walking uphill to his house, he then tiptoed, and then he closed the door quietly. So he learned how to do some things quietly, and it seems like he was a changed man until he started snoring. Like he learned absolutely nothing. And then he went back to the status quo of being loud in the other Mr. Men books. You're probably wondering, why is he not in a place called Noisy Town? Well, he actually would like to live there, but another Mr. Man already lived there, Mr. Quiet. Mr. Quiet didn't like to live in Noisy Land because he was just too quiet and nobody could hear him. Everybody's like, "Hey, can I help you, please? I'm sorry. Can I just have a piece of meat? Can't hear ya. Next." For Mr. Quiet, he just couldn't get what he wants, and so he had to go to bed like hungry. I don't think I'm doing shadow right. I think I'm gonna have to correct this off screen, but here's just an idea of what you're about to see with Mr. Noisy versus Annoying Shadow. Anyways, I got another one. So that's Mr. Noisy for you. Oh, so that was what was missing. I must have forgot to Huh. Okay. Anyways, now where did I go with from here on out? Okay. Next up is Mr. Me making a face at. Now, Mr. Mean is one of the. Oh no, this one's a complex one. I thought I agreed to people that this one is a not too complex. Oh well, let's see what I can do. Let's see if I can try and do it. If I cannot, I may demand another. Huh. Not too bad so far. I don't know about you, but I know some people might think he's Batman, but a cat, like Batcat. Yeah, he kind of, but he also reminds me of a character from a Cosgrove Hole cartoon where it kind of looks like Batman, but he kind of looks like Batman, but he was like he also kind of looks like Zorro. He was like trapped in a painting. I remember seeing that as a kid, and I can't believe I was able to discover it years later. Here. Does he not have a tail? Is he BoJack Horse? Is it like Princess Carolyn from BoJack Horseman, a cat lady who also doesn't have a tail? Mr. Mean making a face towards oops. And that's more of Mr. Mischief's thing. I mean, Mr. Mean is more angry type of mean. And another thing about Mr. Mean is that he's one of the few Mr. Men characters with visible ears. In fact, they became kind of an important part in. They became kind of an important part of the Mr. Men of his story. if he becomes mean, he's so mean that he lives in a very broken house. He has he has a bad bed, and what did he get for his brother for Christmas? A piece of coal. But does that mean he has no money? Actually, no, he has lots of money. But he would not spend a dime on it. It's kind of like John Kay's father. His father, according to him, his father was a real cheapskate. And whenever he would buy cans, they would always be without labels. And he says once he opens them, they were like livers or brains or any goat's donkey liver or something like that. Just something out that's really gross, which gave him the inspiration for cans without labels. I understand that passion, but still kind of turned out as a bit of a mess that product was. In the US, he was for some reason named Mr. Stingy. But the US dub of the 70s cartoon still kept the name Mr. Mean. And I don't know, there was no other indication in any US version that he was called Mr. Stingy except for the book. I wonder why. I mean, is it too similar to Mr. Bean? Yeah, Mr. Messy. Shazam! Shiz. Now, Mr. Messy is a bit of a different type of character altogether when it comes to trying to draw him. You see, unlike most Mr. Men where you have a black outline and you can just fill in the colors, Mr. Messy requires a lot of scribbling. So you gotta have him like this. So I'm not sure if he's if I got him right, if he's based on the book or based on the 2008 show. He's also got a unibrow. I think it might be a combo of the two. Shazam! Don't worry, just a little dirt. Let me just In fact, there's another character I think has a similar personality to Mr. Messy named Lightning, where he also says a little Shazam, Shazam, Bluey, Wow, Shapow, something like that. He kind of speaks like Mr. Messy. I know it's not the same voice actor, but his personality kind of sounds a little similar. Shadam, Shabam, Shazam! Don't worry, just a little dirt. Now, tell me what you think. Now, the worst thing about Mr. Messy in the 2008 show is that he's neighbors with Mr. Fussy or Mr. Persnickety or Pernickety. He's like, oh, this isn't cheese, it's stink on the stick. How about this one? I call it sock cheese. Yeah, tell me what you think. I probably should have used a thicker outline, but I'll probably finish them off later. Anyways, let me try, so I'm gonna, okay, this may be a controversial pick, but I'm gonna try the, 2006 version of this character. It's just I just need to find a clear, version of. There was one episode of Justice League Action when Mixia Spitlick switched all the brains of the Justice League, switched all the bodies of the Justice League members, and they start to act all differently. Somebody was in Shazam's body, and he's like, "Oh look, I'm Shazam!" And then he gets struck by lightning. Thing is like turns back to Billy. He's like, "Oh, I'm not Shazam." Zap. "Oh, now I am Shazam." Blab zap. Somebody on the internet even before the removal of the comment section in YouTube's Kids, somebody once commented, "This is why renaming Captain Marvel to Shazam was a stupid idea." But still, I thought it was kind of funny. I'm just doing this because I need to save myself a bit of time. If I had the choice between Teen Titans Go or the 2003 Teen Titans, it'd be more favorable for me to do the 2003 ones. But if I'm running out of time, I might have to resort to the Go versions. They're at least easier to draw. I know I might anger people with that statement, but when you're doing a live stream and it requires a lot of concentration and thought, but you might need to cut some corners in order to save some time. And the saddest thing about Justice League Action is that was the last time we hear Gilbert Gottfried as Mixia Spitlick, like he did in Superman the Anime Series, and the one of the Lego DC Batman games. Two, actually, he reprised his role in Lego DC Supervillains. There was also Batman versus he was supposed to reprise his role in a video game, but unfortunately he died before he could do so. The game was dedicated to Gilbert, but they also had Dan Schneider. Dana Snyder. That's what I meant. Dana Snyder to play Mixia Spitlick. You know, the same guy who played Gazpacho from Chowder, Milkshake from Master Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the Scratch from the Ghost of Molly McGee. They hired that guy to play Mixia Spitlick. And to end it off, let's have let's have Mr. Messy say the line. Shazam! There we go. We have Mr. Messy with Captain Marvel, also known as Shazam. Or Captain Sparklefingers. Okay. Anyways, anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? What is it? Mr. Messy always had a fun personality. As an extra fitter, how about a TV version of Mr. Using? Because I hate that TV series. First, let me finish the examples first, and then I'll get to that in a moment. Who is someone better than that monster? Wait, I'm just trying to find, what was that coming? We shall never mention that monster who is Dan Schneider. Sorry about that, I meant Dana Schneider, the gazpacho guy, or scratch guy. Not the man who has a thing for feet. Not the man who has a thing for feet. How Nickelodeon kinda had that feet logo in the first place. He had a bit of a staple for Nickelodeon, and why a lot of people are not very trustworthy of Nickelodeon. And dare I say, I'm not sure who's doing better right now, Warner Brothers or Paramount? Have you ever seen Mega Man Fully Charged? I have not, although I do remember seeing one particular Mega Man character or suit in a picture of it that kind of resembles the bad box art Mega Man, which was also used in Street Fighter X Tekken. Okay, Mr. Snow and Slimmily building a snowman. Mr. Snow. Oh, okay, wait. I'm just trying to remember. Oh, I remember now. I was gonna go with Ever since the character from what was he from again? I Mr. White Christmas do. Now, the funny thing about Mr. Snow is that he was actually a Mr. Man that was brought to life by Santa Claus in the book. Look, he needed some help delivering presents to children. He found a snowman in the middle, and he brought it to life, and that's when Mr. Snow came in. Now the funny thing is that Mr. Snow became chubbier and chubbier as the series of books continued. Before he was actually pretty skinny, and I think in the cartoon version, the 70s cartoon, I think he had a mustache or something, and he kind of looked a little like Thompson and Thompson from Tintin, I think. But since he's a snowman, it's kind of hard to pinpoint what's his definite design. Here we go, fellas. We have Mr. Snow interacting with the Heatmeister. Next up, it's Mr. Silly, or some other Mr. Man you would like me to do instead. Let's see who we. Don't scare those to Heatmeister, Mr. Snow. I damn will live miserably. He's since Mr. Snow was Mr. Since he was originally a since he was part of Christmas, he makes a big he plays a huge part in the Mr. Man Christmas rescue episode, where he was a news reporter for the North Pole for Santa. He was doing a report on Santa Claus, an interview, and he was even interviewing him at the workshop in the North Pole until these 3 miserable knights came in, and they were sent by this Queen of Misery Land: Dark Knight, Stormy Knight, and Starry Knight. "Oh, that's funny," says Starry Knight. "I don't see no stars." Then he gets hit and he starts seeing stars. Like, "Oh, now I do." And then the miserable knights come to Santa's workshop by order of the Queen to take away all the presents. "Don't go counting on that, Mr. Snow. We're taking away all your presents, and then we'll live miserably ever after. Right. Come on and let's go load up the presents." And then they had to call a rescue team, which I will get to one of them in a moment. And then when the knights try to drive with the presents, they're like, "Do you think there's something a bit wrong? It's like we're going around in circles." "We going around in circles? Never." And then after hours and hours, they're like, "Well, let's face it, we're lost. Things are just gonna look grim. Moan, moan, moan. Why don't you guys look on the bright side? No, we're supposed to be miserable, remember? Look, there's a house up ahead." And then they ended up in Santa's workshop again, and they're like, "Now it's the 3 miserable knights," says Santa, "and it seems they're returning back all the presents." And the knights are like, "You know what? All right, we'll go back with the presents." What was I again? Oh yeah, It's like the villains are not so villainous after all. Why not? It's Christmas. It means peace on earth. That's kinda silly. The silliest thing is that I wish he was the one with the Edwin type of voice. In fact, why didn't they use him instead of gender swapping little Miss Scatterbrain into Mr. Scatterbrain? Where is their heads? Then there's Mr. Small. Hey all, hello. It's kinda, apparently, kinda like Haley, Sonic Sat AM is also a show that ended on a cliffhanger. It was supposed to be a moment where Snively was supposed to have his turn in becoming the new person to go against Sonic. And he had the last line, he's like, "Now don't celebrate your victory too soon, Hedgehog, 'cause now it's my turn, and I'm not alone!" Sorry, I'm not doing a Charlie Adler-ish voice right now. I just want to stay a bit quiet because it's late at night where I live. Oh, that one. Be more specific next time, please. You said I could have sworn you. Next time you oughta be a little bit more precise because some you gotta say Pokemon or something because I kind of mispronounced because I kind of. Anyways, what was I? You see, it's a bad sign when you have a name that's similar to another and then people mistaken it for another thing. I think it would have been a bit more expensive if I used Snively. Like maybe Mr. Small could act like Snively's Jiminy Cricket. Like, always let your conscience be your guide. I mean, I don't understand. Now, normally I shouldn't really question on requests and stuff, but why this? Why specifically Snivy or Snivy? That's it. I remember. Snivy. Why Snivy? Is there a purpose for the connection? For not viewing the show. It's probably something I should probably add to my shows that have been shortened category. It's sad when Sonic the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog managed to last longer than Sonic Sat AM. The thing about Mr. Small is that his in his book he was trying to find a job, but everybody just because he keeps because of his size he's unable to find one because everybody keeps belittling him. And some of the tests are very dangerous. Okay, it's been 2 hours. There's how many? Okay, one category, one row is almost done. So, oh, it's Mr. Forgetful. Yes, it's Mr. Good. Never done a puppet. Actually, I have done a puppet, but SML. You don't mean SNL, Saturday Night Live, right? Yeah, kinda. Why does this chase kind of remind me of it kind of reminds me of the manic the marionette race, the chase with those puppets from Toy Story 4. That's what it kind of reminds me of, this request. Yeah, see, it's oh, today's the 20th anniversary of the first SpongeBob movie. Actually, it was I think it was a couple of days ago. Actually, I think it was yesterday. I think, or maybe it must have been maybe my timing's a bit off depending on which location I'm in. But happy anniversary. Okay, Mr. Forgetful is done, and it looks like we've only got a few more characters left. Let's see. We've got Mr. Lazy, Mr. Funny, Mr. Bounce, Muddle, Dizzy, Impossible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a random for last. So only about 8 more to go, and then we're finished. So who's it gonna be, Mr. Which version of Mr. Lazy? Is it the book version where he kind of looks like a pink potato, or the Mr. Man Show version where he's green, slim, and wears a big hat and shoes? Which version of Mr. Lazy? Okay, Mr. Dizzy, Mr. Dizzy as Alec. Who's Alec? Can I ask, who's Alec? Alec Baldwin, Alec Lighthood, Alec, Sov. Now, which Alec are you talking about? Alec from Dispenser Camp. Oh, okay. Okay. Skill. Now, Mr. Dizzy's is kind of a sad one. Apparently, he was poked fun of for his lightheadedness. He lived in a place where everybody is like super intelligent, except for Mr. Dizzy. He was poked fun of by all the people who are more cleverer than him. And he's like, and then he felt so sad that he decided to take a bit of a walk. He came across a fountain, and then I'm trying to remember. He comes across a fountain, a water well. He decides to drink from the well. He says, "Oh, how I wish I was clever." And then what he doesn't realize is that the well is magic. So then he suddenly became clever, and he starts to answer as many questions as the smart elephant and the smart pig gave him. And then he starts to answer a question. He starts to ask a question for them, like, "What's pink? Has a curled tail and goes achoo, achoo, achoo." And then and the pig is like, "Ridiculous! There's no pink thing with a curly tail and goes a tissue, a tissue, a tissue." Then Mr. Dizzy tickles his nose and goes, "A tissue, a tissue, a tissue." That'll be you, the piggy. And then he questions the elephant. "What's big, has a long nose and goes dop it, dop it?" The elephant's like, "Ridiculous! There's no being that goes dop it, dop it." Then Mr. Dizzy ties up the elephant's nose, and the elephant goes dop it, dop it. Instead of, he tries to say stop it, but he had no idea how to control his mouth, because his nose is blocked.
"I'm supposed to think that's funny."
And of course he goes back. Going back to the status quo, and Mr. Dizzy is not very super brainy anymore. It's really sad. He didn't have an episode. Actually, yes, he did. Actually, he did have an episode made. What am I talking about? Wait, did he? Did he? Let me just double check. Oh yeah, he did. He did. I remember now. In fact, he was at one point in the '90s cartoon. He was chosen to be the brain in a television series called the television game show called The Brains and the Brawn. When Mr. Clumsy ends up being the brawn, while Mr. Dizzy ends up being the brains. He didn't really volunteer willingly. It was Little Miss Trouble who volunteered for him by writing Mr. Dizzy's name in every bits of paper. He's like, he has no idea what shape the Earth, the moon is. It's like, is it round or square? Come on, you can do it. Square? Wrong. And then he tried to and there was another one. 2 + 2 make straight. Okay, that's taken care of. Mr. Dizzy is done. Okay, so talk about disrespect. You can also include, oh, okay. I'll. Yeah, as just a bit of a bonus, to make sure people know what I'm talking about, and what the requester wants me to talk about. Maybe I should do a request challenge based on Disventure Camp. I'm not gonna pair it with Total Drama because there's like too many characters in Total Drama, and I might confuse the Disventure Camp thing. In fact, I also may think about wanting to do fan arts for Reality Resort or any other upcoming Total Drama based fan projects. And I am hyped to see Dispenser Camp Carnival Chaos. Yes. And then I even especially look forward to seeing Tristan. I mean, they seem a little fun, right? Let's see. What other Total Drama like shows are there? And there's Reality Resort. There's Exotic Escapade. There's Camp Carnage Trek, I think. Then there's Calamity Camp. I wonder if I should make my own Total Drama like series someday. It will require a lot of planning, but I have thoughts about a few OCs of mine. I thought of a lot of OCs. I'm just not sure how to properly design them, especially in the style of Total Drama. And I haven't really been the best at varying on human designs. I'm always more of an animal person. Perhaps I can animalize them, and my fans can come up with what a human version may look like. Does that sound good? Like, since I'm like again, let me repeat that. If I can't really come up with a good Total Drama human design, I can come up with an animal character, and maybe you can redesign them to look like a human. And maybe I can try redrawing that way to have a better look at what they might look like as Total Drama-like characters. Anyways, what was I? Wait, what did I? Oh yeah, okay. Anyways, I think somebody else wants me to draw Mr. Lazy sleeping with somebody else, but Mr. Funny, Mr. Bounce, was it? Oh yeah. He's like, yep. The thing with Mr. Lazy is that he always finds even the most simple of tasks so hardworking. Like there's one episode where he wants to find a robot. It's Yeah, I'm like, I want to find a robot that does the work, the yard work, and everything with the work.
Then you will like Clyde. All you gotta do is push a button
And push a button? Too much work.
Well, then you'll need Harvey. He's very good at. All you gotta do is talk, say something, and he'll do it. Show him your stuff, Harvey.
And then he does all the work for him, and then I'll take him. After you give me some chip and dip, you can help me with the lawn and stuff.
I like your hammock.
What are you doing? That's my hammock. You're supposed to be helping me.
Very well then. Pass me the remote.
You don't watch TV. I do. What kind of a robot are you anyway?
A thirsty one. Do you have any motor oil?
This robot is broken.
Herbie is broken? What'd you do to him?
Nothing. He doesn't do what I say. He's just lazy.
There's no need to call people names.
I like my money back.
I know what your problem is. You need a tickle.
Oh. No, I said I like my money back.
Come on, guys. Join the party. Must tickle, must tickle, must tickle.
Hey, stop, please. There's even one episode where he tries a remote control that will control everything, but instead it ended up controlling everything in Little Miss Calamity's house.
What a calamity!
It seems broken. I guess I'll have to take it back to the repair shop. Or not. Now, in the Mr. Lazy book, he was just busy sleeping and stuff, but then he was woken up by two humans who keep saying to him, "Wake up, you gotta do some work. Look, you gotta do some jobs around the house." So he just he's just doing a lot of chores, that's all. And he did not like this one bit. Teenage Ross from Planes, Fires, and Rescue. It's gotta be Mr. Men related. Unless it's something Mr. Men related, like like Mr. Men meeting the character or dressing up as a character, it does not qualify, I'm afraid. And let me just And then after the exercising part and the working thing, and they had to go for a very, very long walk. It turns out it was all just a dream. And Mr. Lazy was just imagining these exercises the whole time. That's Mr. Lazy done with, oh, wait, there's something missing. There is something missing. There you go, that should take care of. That's Mr. Lazy done. Now for Mr. Funny. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun.
You know, I, you know why they float. They all float.
Wait, let me just now I can't really remember if Mr. Funny did anything that was legitimately funny. All I do remember from the book is that he went to the zoo. The animals all had a cold, so Mr. Funny decided to cheer him up by making silly faces, and all the animals laughed. That was it, really. There's not much else to it. I do like how they, in the Mr. Men show, Mr. Funny was given a unique trait where he doesn't talk. He just presents his humor non-verbally and physically, kind of like Tom and Jerry or Charlie Chaplin. Do you know life balloons are supposed to be scary? They float. They all float. I haven't seen it, but I have seen reviews of it. Okay, we've only got Bounce, Muddle, Impossible, Worried, and a random one of your choice. I love Charlie Chaplin. Just a quick moment. Now, most Mr. Men is easy to recognize based on their physical appearances, despite the fact they're very simple. Now, Mr. Bounce is a bit different. I mean, now for Mr. Bounce, you might mistaken him for Mr. Happy if it wasn't for the fact that he's also very small and he has a little hat. In fact, how many of you thought Mr. Bounce was Mr. Happy in the Mr. Men show? Oh, just shrunken down to size. But another thing that makes Mr. Happy stand out from Mr. Bounce is his gigantic smile. Okay, you gotta do an errand? Okay, see ya later. Okay. Now here's one of my most favorites, Mr. Muddle. Now Mr. Muddle is a guy who gets things kind of like Mr. Topsy Turvy, but except he doesn't do it intentionally. He also gets things topsy turvy. Like So, anybody? So, who do you want to? Oh, okay. I have a better idea. What was it called again? Oh, okay. Oh, Jimmy Neutron. Now I think he's my most favorite of the Mr. Men by the books because, in fact, in the episode in the Little Miss Neat story, Mr. Muddle wanted to come to Little Miss Neat's tea to Little Miss Neat's house for tea. Little Miss Neat's house for tea. Unfortunately, being Mr. Muddle, you expect something's going to go wrong. He had in one hand he had the letter, but he also had a cheese sandwich in the other hand. And when he arrived at the post box, he posted a sandwich. He posted a cheese sandwich. And you know what he did with the letter? He ate it. The sandwich is a bit chewy. Don't worry, it'll make sense when I finish making when I include Mr. Muddle. And then when he finally arrived at Miss Neat's house, he was like, goodbye. Yeah, he said, it should have been, hello. But he's not called Mr. Muddle for nothing. Nobody home? And then he's like, oh dear, nobody home. Oh, I better make myself a cup of tea and wait for Miss Neat. So he went himself to make himself a cup of tea, and he waited, and he waited, and he waited some more. I think I'll have another cup of tea. Where did I put the teapot? Where did I put the tea? Where did I put the milk, the sugar, and the spoon? By the time he drank the tea, it was getting dark, and it's time to go home. And when Little Miss Neat finally arrives back into her cottage, she found that her place is all topsy-turvy. Like, everything is in the wrong place. Like Like, the teapot is in the refrigerator, the milk is in the teapot, the tea is in the sugar's in the milk jug, the cup is in the oven, and the saucer's in the bread bin. Where are all the teaspoons, though? That's the big mystery. So, then the telephone rings, Miss Neat picks it up, and Mr. Muddle is like, goodbye.
Who is this?
It's you.
Oh, it's Mr. Muddle speaking, isn't it?
Oh, yes. He got it right for once.
Have you paid a visit since I last met?
Yes.
Can I see you now that you're back from holiday? I suppose so. Goodbye.
Ooh, hello. And he put the phone down. And when she was sitting on our comfy chair next to the telephone, she found the teaspoons and the knives and the forks. They were all on her seat. Oh dear, this is most inconvenient. Why do I sound like a Martian? Alright, next up, Mission Impossible. I mean, Mr. Impossible. Now, the funny thing about Mr. Impossible is that, he, what is King Hin? Oh, yeah, I remember him now. I remember him. A trapeze. Let me just see what a trapeze is. This should be easy. Now the thing with Mr. Impossible is that in the book, Mr. Impossible is able to do anything that's impossible. Like he can jump over somebody else's house just like that. He can take himself invisible. He can even fly. He's kind of a Mary Sue in a sense. In a sense, he's kind of a Mary Sue. A little bit of a character who's perfect in almost every way that he becomes a bit of a paradox, even. And when he met a boy, he's like, the boy was like, can you climb up that tree? I can do better than that. I can walk up a tree. Can you stand on your hands? I can do better than that. I can stand on no hands. And then he was on his way to school, and then Mr. Impossible joined him, and then the guy asked him to try this hard sum, which is like plus one plus something plus that minus something times 2 or something like that, and then he raised up his head. Mr. Impossible told him the answer, and then he goes, "Is the answer 23?" The teacher was extraordinarily amazed. He's like, "How do you figure that sum out so quickly? That's impossible." It was kind of cheating, actually. I don't know if that story would be good by today's standards, but that's kind of cheating. I mean, at least this was back. I think this was back in the 70s when back then calculators were hard to use. were not invented yet, or they were extremely rare at the time, especially in the UK. But it's an interesting find. And another funny thing about Mr. Impossible is that even in every incarnation I've seen, especially in the UK, he always comes with an American accent. In the Christmas cartoon, the Christmas Rescue, he's like, "Mr. Impossible here, we're on our way. Look down there, Mr. Strong, it's the Miserables, and it's sending all of Santa's presents. Mr. Rush and Mr. Busy, you know what to do. Miss Magic, wave your wand and let's get started." Almost every Mr. Men incarnation has Mr. Impossible with an American accent. It makes me wonder why they never used him in the Mr. Men show. I mean, there's potential for that. Need to wrap this up quickly because my hands are becoming sore from all the drawing. But don't worry, we're almost done. We're almost done. Just 2 more Mr. Men and then we're done. Okay, so let's finish it with Mr. Worry, and I think I'm just gonna write this down quickly. And Heathcliff the cat, isn't that the character who kind of looks like Garfield but has the voice of Mel Blanc? In fact, there are a lot of cats in fiction besides Heathcliff and Garfield. There's Sylvester, there's Tom, there's Figaro from Pinocchio, who would also become Minnie's cat. There's a lot, and I'm trying to remember. It was in my head earlier, but. There was Eek the cat, which was made by the same guy who made Schnookums and Meat. And also some folks who used to work on Ren and Stimpy also worked on Eek the cat. And it was one of the early times you see Weird Al in an animated show, an animated version of himself.
He's like, "Hi, Weird Al, I'm a big fan, and I like to say if you mention anything, we'll have to pay for some goofball company to owns the right to the music. Do you want that? Do you, huh?" Have you ever watched Centaur World? Yes, I have. I have watched Centaur World. It was a pretty good show. I kind of wish it lasted a little bit. I kind of wish it had an extra season because I think it's a tad too short. Right. I understand that it wasn't really meant to go for. I understand that it doesn't really have to. It wasn't really meant to tell a longer story. It was meant to tell a short one, but I feel like there's potential for longer stories on that one. And it's just me. But with the current landscape of Netflix, maybe it was a good reason for it to end as quickly as possible. Mr. Rush is kind of like
the opposite of Mr. Forgetful, especially during breakfast. Mr. Forgetful, he forgot about his toast and it was burnt, and he forgot about his egg and it was completely hard boiled instead of soft boiled like it was commonly accepted in the 70s. And he had this every day, while Mr. Rush barely boiled his egg and it tasted awful, and he toasted the egg for just 1 second and it didn't look brown at all. He never even finished his breakfast. Okay, Mr. Rush is done. Just one more. Just one more characters. Mr. Worry. Just have me do a something that's based on Mr. Worry. Okay. And he's known for having, for constantly frowning. Okay, I think I'm just gonna go with, yeah, I think I'll go with, that one. There we go, fellas. We have Monster and Mr. Worry. And yep, that should just about do it, fellas. My hand is really, really, really aching right about now. So, I'm gonna pause my live stream for a minute. I mean, not pause my live stream. I'm just gonna answer some questions, and that's all. Just ask me any questions. We got about 5 more minutes. Okay. Recently it's the 55th anniversary of Sesame Street. Yeah, happy 55th anniversary. I was thinking about doing a Sesame Street request challenge earlier, but I seem to have forgotten about it, and I was in a lot of stress. Have you seen Arcane League of Legends? You mean Arcane, the Netflix series? I have not. I do plan to do so. Because I heard about, because each episode is about an hour long, and I usually don't have enough time to check out a TV show where the episodes are about an hour long. I like to go with the 22-minute ones, or 11 minutes even, because in fact, I'm currently watching all of the Voltron episodes before they get taken off. Have you heard about Pop-Up Girls Z, the anime? I don't know what to say about it. I've seen promos of it, but I really don't know what to say about it. I really don't. It just really, really confused me. I have more of an understanding for Powerpuff Girls 2016 than the Powerpuff Girls Z anime. Sorry to say, but I mean, yes, Powerpuff Girls 2016 is not good at all, but I at least can understand it. I don't understand Powerpuff Girls Z. You do a live stream of Native American Zodiac? Wait, is there a Native American zodiac? Let me have a look. Is that true? Native American zodiac. No, not zombies. Here it is. Okay, Native American zodiac signs are falcon, beaver, deer, woodpecker, salmon, bear, raven, snake, owl, goose, otter, and wolf. I never noticed that before. And it seems I'm born in the year I'm a falcon. It's I should look more into that. Thanks for introducing me to that. Hot wings or mac and cheese? Hot wings, but only the more mild stuff, because I can't take the super spicy ones. It does not do well with my tummy, especially one that has ulcerative colitis. It's that guy from Total Drama. Who? This livestream may not be a thing as a purpose, but it could have been better. What animal live streams or questions do you plan in the future? I do have some more ideas on that, but it'll take me some time to present them. Like, I already did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I haven't done regular turtles yet. I probably should. I've done a crocodile, I've done elephant, rhino, and a hippo. Maybe I should one day do a primate challenge featuring many different simians. And I'm, what else there is? I already did insect, I already did spider. I'll keep brainstorming on that part. Have you ever heard of the Annoying Orange? The High Fructose Adventures of the Annoying Orange. I have seen somebody do a review of it, and I do know Weird Al guest appeared in one or two of them as himself and as one of the orange characters, as one of the fruits. How do you feel if you can do a dogs and cats on their own? I'll probably do that. So here's the last question. When is your next live stream? I decided to do another one this month, and it'll be coming in about 9 days. And although it's mostly on the day where we had this big bird for our dinner, I heard there's a parade going on and something is floating. Just don't pop it. That's all I have to say, really. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for these requests. Thank you for the commissions and the super chats. And thank you for the questions. I'll see you all in the next live stream. I hope you enjoyed this video.